The power of the beast, the statue that speaks and kills in Revelation. In the book of Revelation, there is an enigmatic passage that mentions a living statue, the image of the beast, that possesses frightening powers. The statue not only speaks, but also has the ability to order the death of those who refuse to worship it. But what does this passage mean? How could a statue come to life and, worse, threaten the lives of human beings? Today we will explore this shadowy figure of the end times and the theories surrounding this prophecy. Prepare for an in-depth and enlightening analysis of the true power of the beast described in the Bible. What is the beast in Revelation? The beast is first mentioned in chapter 13 of the book of Revelation. It is described as a fearsome creature with multiple heads and features of animals such as leopards, bears, and lions. Many theologians associate this beast with the Antichrist, a world leader who would assume power during the period known as the Great Tribulation. This figure would represent a corrupt governmental and spiritual alliance under the authority of Satan. According to the interpretation, the beast will have a statue made in its likeness that will serve as a symbol of its authoritarian power. The image that speaks and kills. The role of the statue. The strangest thing is the power of this image. In verse 15 of chapter 13, it is said that the second beast, also known as the false prophet, gives life to the image of the first beast, allowing it to speak and even order the executions of those who refuse to worship it. But are we talking about a living statue in the literal sense? Some scholars interpret this as a supernatural manipulation by Satan, while others consider that it may refer to technological advances, such as robotics or artificial intelligence, that could deceive people with the apparent life of the statue. Historical and prophetic interpretations. In past centuries, some theologians believed that this talking statue was a warning about idolatry and false worship. At the time John wrote Revelation, statues of gods were common and were seen as a symbol of political and religious control. Today, many associate the image of the beast with a future where technology can be used for social control and spiritual oppression. Thus, this prophecy could be pointing to a time when advanced machines or artificial intelligence are used to impose a global regime. The identity of the false prophet and the mark of the beast. In addition to the image, there is the figure of the false prophet, a second beast that acts in conjunction with the first. He uses his powers to induce worship of the first beast, marking followers with the famous number 666. Without this mark, no one will be able to buy or sell, and this economic system based on total loyalty to the beast would place many in an impossible situation. Many suggest that the mark could be something like an identification chip, but it is important to remember that the 666 symbol is not just a physical issue, but represents complete adherence to the evil system of the beast. Consequences for humanity and opposition of the faithful. Those who refuse to worship the image of the beast face a death sentence imposed by the image itself. For the faithful, resisting the rule of the beast is a difficult choice that could cost them their lives. Revelation describes a group of survivors, those who have not received the mark and have chosen not to worship the beast. This group will become targets of persecution and face times of intense testing, but their faithfulness will be rewarded when the kingdom of God is established. The fall of the beast and the prophesied end. The Bible promises that the end of the beast and his system is inevitable. When Christ returns, he will destroy the beast and the false prophet, casting them into the lake of fire. This is the final triumph, where good overcomes evil and humanity is freed from the rule of the beast. Until then, the prophecy continues to serve as a powerful warning, reminding the faithful to stand firm in the face of threats and to resist the rule of evil in all its forms. Revelation is a book of warnings, but also of hope. The beast may symbolize the height of human oppression and control over about the spiritual, but it also reminds us of the eternal power of good and God's love. Throughout the centuries, this prophecy has served as a guide for Christians, reminding us of the importance of unshakable faith. Today, more than ever, this message seems to resonate. raising questions about technology, power, and freedom. What will be humanity's role in this prophetic future? The image of the beast and modern issues of control and technology. Since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, and especially with today's technological advances, many theories about the image of the beast have linked this idea to the increasing use of artificial intelligence and surveillance systems. Imagine a future in which governments and corporations possess technology capable of monitoring and controlling populations globally. The reference to the image of the beast that speaks and orders deaths raises questions about the use of technology for manipulation and control. Theologians and scholars suggest that this image may in fact symbolize advanced forms of technology designed to create near-total obedience, where AI systems could convince, deceive, and even intimidate the population. The evolution of prophetic interpretations and the role of AI. Since the writing of Revelation, the concept of image has changed a lot, and today digital and interactive images are everywhere. In futuristic contexts, AI systems could theoretically speak and act on behalf of corrupt rulers, creating a scenario of psychological and spiritual subjugation that aligns with many biblical visions. The prophecies, in this sense, seem to parallel systems where citizens could be digitally tagged or identified, where without such identification, commerce and daily life would be impossible. The influence of prophecy on pop culture and resistance movements. These prophecies have influenced literary works, films, and social movements that seek to warn against a future of technological oppression and totalitarianism. Films such as The Matrix and 1984 echo ideas of constant surveillance and loss of autonomy, where world leaders control information, finances, and even people's faith. The image of the beast as a symbolic representation has served to inspire everything from religious movements to privacy activists who seek to defend individual rights against the absolute control of states or corporations. The question of faith and the reaction of the faithful. The vision of Revelation also suggests an unprecedented test of faith. The imposition of the mark of the beast and the mandatory worship of its image represent a direct challenge to the spiritual autonomy of every human being. For Christians, refusing the mark is an act of fidelity, but this choice will come with deadly consequences. This battle between faith and external pressure is echoed in several biblical stories, where resistance to evil is seen as a fundamental test for salvation, the end of the beast and its significance for humanity. At the end of time, the Bible prophesies that the beast and its system will fall. The final victory belongs to God, who will free humanity from all oppression. By confronting the beast, humanity finds its redemption, showing that evil, no matter how strong and terrifying, will never overcome divine power. Thus, the image of the beast is not only a symbol of warning, but a call to resistance and to persevere in faith amidst a world of challenges, being a test of character and faith for all. Final image. A serene horizon, with the sound of quiet voices, leading viewers to reflect on the spiritual and psychological impact of Revelation and the power of faith in the face of adversity. The beast and parallels with modern governments and systems of control. In our age of digital surveillance, many associate the oppressive power of the image of the beast with real-world practices of government control. Governments and large corporations now have the technology to track personal activities, conversations, and even ideologies. Social scoring systems, such as China's, for example, serve as a modern version of what would be a brand, recording and punishing citizens for actions deemed undesirable or subversive by the government. The image of the beast, then, could be an ancient warning about the dangers of total control. Through data and surveillance, governments could restrict free speech and enforce forced conformity, where dissenters would be excluded from essential activities such as work, commerce, and even healthcare. The beast, in the context of contemporary Christian theology. They linked this image to the danger of materialism, idolatry, and alienation from the divine purpose. For some scholars, the beast symbolizes more than a specific entity. It represents a way of thinking that denies spirituality and human dignity, focusing exclusively on worldly and material power. The mark of the beast, in this context, is interpreted as the acceptance of values that place money, influence, and pleasure above the collective good and spiritual development. The false prophet and the manipulation of faith and science. The false prophet is a figure who, according to the Apocalypse, uses supernatural abilities to manipulate the masses and lead them to worship the beast. Today, some see this as a warning about the misleading mixing of science and religion, as in cults, extremist groups, and other practices that use faith and reason to confuse and control. These leaders, or false prophets, would manipulate people's faith for their own gain, promoting a system where science is distorted to support dangerous ideologies, making the population vulnerable and manipulable. The prophecies and the final battle against the beast. At the climax of the prophecy, the Bible describes a final confrontation between the forces of good and the forces of the beast. This moment symbolizes the purification and redemption of humanity after centuries of oppression and idolatry. In John's texts, this battle is more than a physical war. It is a spiritual conflict where humanity frees itself from the forces that control it and draws closer to God. The fall of the beast and the false prophet indicates the end of the times of tyranny, opening the way for a new kingdom of peace and justice, where the divine presence prevails and restores the natural order of the universe. Conclusion. Reflection on the impact of apocalyptic prophecies. While many see the prophecies of Revelation as symbols of warning against evil, others believe that these texts reflect universal cycles of power and resistance. The idea of the beast as an entity that represents absolute governments or systems of control makes us reflect on the limitations of human freedom and the importance of ethical values. These prophetic stories are not only a dark vision of the future, but also an invitation to reflect on our own choices and on the value of a life based on faith, justice, and compassion. The beast and the psychological implications for humanity. The prophecies of Revelation, especially those involving the beast and its image, go beyond predictions about the future, touching on deep psychological aspects. The idea of a totalitarian government that forces the worship and marking of its subjects echoes the universal fear of the loss of freedom and identity. The image of the beast could represent a society where individuality is destroyed and where everyone must conform to an ideal imposed by power. Psychologists and scholars interpret this passage as a warning to humanity not to sacrifice its individuality and freedom in the name of an illusory security. This image that speaks and kills could, in a more symbolic sense, represent the social and ideological pressures that many experience today, where fear of retaliation and social exclusion forces people to conform to rigid and often oppressive norms. The mark of the beast and digital control, a dystopian future. In the digital age, the prophecy of the mark of the beast is often associated with systems of digital control. In a world where personal information is stored, tracked, and manipulated, the idea of a mandatory mark for buying and selling sounds more plausible than ever. Technology, which is evolving at a rapid pace, creates possibilities for authorities to monitor the population in unprecedented ways, and many see a connection between this and the mark prophesied in the Apocalypse. Imagine a future where access to work, consumption, and even medical services is limited to those who have this digital mark. This could be implemented by a biometric identification system, for example, or implanted chips that record all of an individual's actions. This dystopian vision warns about the use of technology to control human life, showing that technological advances, although they bring benefits, can also be used for purposes of oppression and domination. The image of the beast as an allegory of the media and propaganda. Another interesting interpretative aspect is the connection of the image of the beast with the power of the media and propaganda. The Bible states that the image of the beast will speak, which many interpret as a reference to the control of narratives and public opinion. In authoritarian regimes, The manipulation of information is a powerful weapon, capable of convincing the masses to support ideals and policies that they might otherwise reject. Thus, the image of the beast could be an allegory for the media that shapes thoughts, influences behaviors, and even justify violent actions in the name of a supposed order or security. This prophetic aspect makes us reflect on how we consume information and how we are often conditioned to think and act in ways that serve the interests of power groups. The final message of the apocalypse: hope and redemption. Despite all the dark aspects, the apocalypse offers a final message of hope. The fall of the beast and his oppressive regime symbolizes the victory of justice and truth over darkness. In the end, humanity is freed from any system that tries to control and oppress, and God promises an era of peace and harmony, where there will be no suffering or pain. This message inspires generations of Christians and offers a powerful reminder. No matter how much evil seems to triumph, it is temporary. The victory of good is inevitable, and according to the Bible, all those who persevere until the end will be rewarded. The apocalypse, more than a book of dark predictions, is a call to reflection and inner transformation. It challenges us to reflect on our values, our faith, and the path we want to follow as a society. The power of the beast and its image can, in reality, symbolize any force that distances us from our essence and leads us to a world of control and conformity. However, the invitation is clear. May we resist evil, seek good, and build a society based on freedom, compassion, and divine love. The image of the beast and the power of collective persuasion. One of the most subtle but powerful aspects of the prophecy of the beast is the way in which the image uses speech to persuade and terrorize. This detail reinforces the psychological impact of a system that manipulates emotions and beliefs to control the masses. In a modern sense, this ability to speak could be interpreted as the influence of social media, communication networks, and opinion leaders who disseminate specific narratives to maintain a certain social order. The idea of an image that convinces the population symbolizes a system in which people gradually come to accept values and behaviors that they would previously consider unacceptable, creating a cycle of conformity where any dissenting voice is seen as a threat. This approach makes us reflect on the role of propaganda and censorship, and how powerful leaders and corporations can shape public opinion to support their own interests, creating an image of perfection or order, but with hidden intentions. It is an invitation for us to critically observe the narratives that surround us and to maintain our intellectual and moral autonomy. The role of global crises in the adoption of a system of control. In the apocalypse, the beast appears in a period of Great Tribulation, where crises are used to justify extreme measures. Today, we live in times of global challenges, from pandemics to economic crises and conflicts. These extreme situations could theoretically be used by authorities to impose stricter control, justifying greater surveillance in the name of public safety. This possibility raises a fundamental question. To what extent is humanity willing to give up its freedom in times of crisis? Revelation suggests that the beast preys on the human need for security, offering a false sense of peace in exchange for complete submission. This leads us to reflect on the boundaries between protection and control, and to what extent we are willing to accept the interference of larger systems in our lives. Spiritual awakening and preparation for the end. Time's revelation is not only a warning about a system of oppression, it is also a call for spiritual awakening. The emergence of the beast and its image are prophesied as clear signs that the end is near, encouraging believers to prepare for a period of trials and tribulations. In the Christian interpretation, this means not only physically resisting the beast's dominion, but also strengthening one's faith by holding firm to one's spiritual convictions in the face of pressure to conform to evil. This spiritual awakening can be interpreted as a call for people to seek authenticity and true values, strengthening their connection with the divine, while remaining vigilant in a world increasingly focused on materialism and dependence on authoritarian systems. For many, this preparation involves not only strengthening their own faith, but also creating communities of support and resistance, where values of love, kindness, and solidarity are kept alive. Part 23. The Final Battle and the Fate of the Beast. In the end, Revelation promises that the beast and the false prophet will be destroyed, and that a new kingdom of peace will be established. This final battle is interpreted as the victory of divine justice over all the evil forces and oppressive systems that corrupt humanity. For many scholars, this conflict symbolizes the ongoing struggle between good and evil, not only on a physical level, but also within each individual. The defeat of the beast ultimately represents the purification of humanity and the restoration of divine order. This final destiny reminds us that despite all hardships and oppressions, evil will not prevail forever. It is a message of hope that inspires faith and perseverance, reminding us that, in the end, justice triumphs. The final victory over the beast serves as a powerful reminder that the forces of good, guided by faith and integrity, will always prevail, no matter the challenges. Final reflection. Revelation as a call to resilience and critical consciousness. The prophecies of Revelation, and especially the figure of the beast, transcend time and space, and can be seen as a universal call to resilience. The image of the beast can symbolize any system or influence that seeks to dominate minds and hearts, challenging humanity to maintain its spiritual and moral freedom. Whether through technology, politics, or omnipresent propaganda, the prophecy invites us to reflect on our role in preserving fundamental values and seeking a higher truth. The final message of Revelation challenges us to be more conscious and vigilant, valuing freedom, authenticity, and faith, so that when confronted by forces that seek our submission, we can respond with courage and dignity. And that is the final message of this video. No matter what happens in your life, God's word remains faithful. The Bible is a living book, capable of transforming your life. It has the power to give you peace, direction, and hope, but only if you open your heart to receive it. So, read it, meditate on it, and let its message fill your heart. God has great plans for your life, and the Bible is His letter of love to you. Do not waste the opportunity to know Him better. Let God speak to you through His word. You won't regret it. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you abundantly.